Hello, welcome to part 4 of my second holly ornament. This is the stage at which I am going to take this now baked sculpted piece, make a mold of it, and then make a few minor modifications. As you can see, I hope that it focuses on this, I didn't do much rounding of the berries up here, and I didn't do any of the berries along here. Now, the reason for that is that it just works better at this stage than it does at the previous stage. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting chalk pastels on this. As a reminder, I'm taking this drawing and I'm going to turn it into something more like this at the end. So the purpose of this mold is so that I can make several of this. They won't all be exactly identical because of the process, but they'll be close enough. And I'm using more polymer clay to make the mold rather than dedicated mold stuffs, even though those mold stuffs are going to retain a little bit more detail because this is much less expensive. And so instead of spending $10 to make a mold of something, I just need to use about this much clay. And it's always on hand and it's easy enough to do. And I can use them over and over again. So, I am going to flatten this and smush it down onto my workspace just a little bit. I'm going to try to encourage it to elongate. If I need to later, I can cut it smaller. I don't want the finished mold to be much more than a 1/4 inch thick, and I will certainly be trimming it. So I want to make sure that I have enough that I can push this down and get nice depth in there. If I don't put some sort of mold release on here, the baked clay will stick to the raw clay. It's not terrible, but it usually won't make a good mold. I have tried it with water. I'm not thrilled with the results. It tends to smooth it out a little bit more than I would prefer. So I'm continuing to use chalk pastel. Because I'm using a lot of it, what I sometimes do is use the inside of the box lid as a place to put it. Let me see, is that on camera? Okay, it is. All right, so just taking my little piece of chalk pastel and a stiff brush. Probably should wiggle the table while I'm recording, huh? It doesn't need to cover everything completely. Just having a thin layer of it is enough to generally disrupt the sticking. Just want to make sure that the little indented spots, forget it, get that in there. Those are the spots, these little crevices in there. That's where the clay is most likely to stick. All right. So it's brute force time. Yay! All right, sometimes to line it up, in this case it's not terribly important and it's fairly obvious, but I'll just show you what I tend to do. I try to take finger and thumb top to bottom and then do the same thing but a little bit wider, just as a general guide, and that way I know that I'm lining up my thumb and my finger, so I'm more or less getting it straight. All right, here's the fun part. I know that I end up doing a little bit of heavy breathing into the camera. As exciting as that is, I'm trying to avoid it this time. Excuse me. Now, sometimes doing it this way will distort the mold a little bit. And so, see how there's still a lot of space there, right? But it has met there, but not here. So I know that I need to get in there. Sometimes just turning it. Will do the trick. So it bends just a smidge, and that's okay. Want to make sure that you've gotten an impression in all the way around. Remember, we're going to trim this afterward, so that's all right. Now, I need to pay attention to where it is that I wanted to put the berries. So I think the largest of the berries, I'm going to put one large berry right here and two slightly smaller ones here and here. And then I'm going to move to an even smaller ball tool. See the difference here? I don't know if the camera's focusing on it. See the difference in the sizes here? So I need to pay attention to where this is here. I just want to press firmly, twist a little, and pull straight back. I'm not pressing quite so hard this time. It's meant to be a little behind it. One more larger one. Now I like to use Fibonacci numbers, so in this case I did 3 larger ones. So naturally I'm doing 5 of the smaller ones because I'm a nerd. And now this area here, again, Fibonacci number is that this one in her hand is the one big one, and then up here we have 4 more, and I intended for there to be one larger one right here, second largest one right here, and one there, and a hint of one down here. So see that I've marred that a little bit, but for the most part that looks good. I am going to trim this because there's no sense in leaving this outer edge here. I'm not going to want to transfer that to the next thing anyway. So I find that edge and I'm going to try to cut just inside it, I think. Although up here I'm leaving a little extra room because, as I mentioned in the last video, I didn't really leave space for a hole. I might just choose to do a bail instead. I haven't quite decided. Now that I've cut that, I do that. set that aside. So just going to go around. So at no point will it be advantageous for me to have really hard, sharp line there. Just going to go around, curl over this edge, make it a little gentler. Like that. All right. Looking good. So I think I should be able to finish this series with just one more video. And that will be after I bake this according to the manufacturer's instructions. And let this cool. I will come back and finish up by doing my faux copper technique with a base of something in this neighborhood, probably a little more muted and slightly bluer, maybe, and some mica powders. So I'll walk you through that next time.